The outpost drifted in a slow spin above the quiet rim of the nebula, glowing faintly like a lantern lost in endless dusk. Liren liked it that way, silent, predictable, almost forgotten by the rest of the galaxy. He had always been better with stars than with people. Stars didn't ask him to talk or pretend. They simply existed, steady and patient. He was mapping low-frequency pulses when the pattern changed. 3 soft beats. A pause, 2 more. Like someone knocking gently on the universe's door. Lirin leaned closer to the console. That's not a natural sequence, he murmured, though no one was around to hear him. The outpost crew was planetside that week. He was alone. The pulses came again, fainter now, drifting towards silence. He hesitated only a moment before slipping into his suit and guiding his small shuttle toward the nebula's edge. Curiosity wasn't something he trusted often, but something in the rhythm felt like a plea. When he found the source, he froze out. A small crystalline craft spun in slow circles, its hull fractured into glittering shards. Faint light glowed through the cracks, soft blues, soft violets. It reminded him of a heartbeat trying to persist. Inside, he found her. Curled near the shattered controls lay an alien woman, her skin translucent like glass touched by fire. Threads of color shimmered under her surface, fear bright red, pain deep purple. Liren had seen her species only in old diplomatic broadcasts. They were distant, private, rarely seen so close to human borders. "Hey," he whispered, floating carefully toward her. "I'm here to help." Her colors snapped to warning amber. She recoiled, curling tighter, her voice a trembling whisper of harmonics. "Do not touch me. Humans do not help my kind." Liren paused, hands open. He didn't move closer. "I'm just one human," he said softly. "Not all of us." She watched him with luminous eyes, suspicion flickering in faint stripes along her arms. When the craft shuddered, Liren made a decision. He placed his emergency beacon on the nearest intact panel. "Your ship is unstable. We need to leave before it breaks apart." Her colors twisted, hesitation, fear, desperation. Finally, she reached toward him, her hand cold but steady. "Vesta," she said quietly. "That is my name, Liren," he replied. "I've got you." He guided her into the shuttle. She moved carefully, every step uncertain, as if her bones were made of splintered light. Once aboard, she sank into the seat and curled her limbs close. The shuttle hummed back toward the outpost. Liren adjusted controls with shaking hands. He hadn't realized how tense he'd become until that moment. Vesta watched him, her colors calmer now, settling into soft aqua. "Why risk yourself?" she asked. He shrugged, eyes on the star map. "Because someone was calling for help. That's all." She studied him like he was a puzzle. "My people believe humans are chaotic, unpredictable." "We are," he said with a small smile, "but not always in a bad way." On the outpost, he tended to her injuries, careful, slow, always asking permission. She flinched at first, but over the hours her colors warmed. Glowing soft peach when he spoke gently, bright silver when he made her laugh, without meaning to. As the pulse's data decrypted, they found something horrifying. The signal was a warning from a vanished species, a message about a chain of collapsing stars that would sweep through nearby systems. Vesta stiffened. "If my people learn I am here, they will come. They will take me back. They will punish anyone who sheltered me. Then they won't know," Liren said quietly. She looked at him, her glow trembling like a fragile sunrise. "You would risk exile for me?" "I already did," he replied softly. "The moment I reached for your hand." Vesta reached out, her fingers brushing his. Warmth bloomed between them, gentle, uncertain, hopeful. "Liren," she whispered, her colors glowing like starlight through tears, "I do not think I want to leave." The desert was silver beneath the twin moons, dunes stretching like waves frozen in time. Aaron trudged through the soft sands, the wind tugging at his cloak, carrying whispers of long-forgotten ruins. He had been mapping them for days, tracing patterns older than any human record. The solitude suited him until the shadow appeared. She was collapsed at the edge of an ancient stone terrace, wings folded tightly against her back, feathers glinting like strands of woven silver. Saline. He didn't know her name yet, only that she was alive and breathing, which meant everything. "Hey," Aaron called softly, approaching carefully. "Can you move?" She lifted her head slowly, eyes reflecting the moon's light. They were not human eyes, long, slit, pale gold, but they held something fragile, something pleading. "Do not approach," she whispered in a melodic tone, though weak. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, kneeling beside her. He offered a water pouch. "Here, please." She hesitated, wings quivering, before taking it. As she drank, the silence between them grew heavier, charged with unspoken questions. Aaron finally asked, "What happened to you?" I was seeking the relic," she said, voice faint. "For my world. It is dying. I must heal it." Her gaze drifted to the dunes, distant, lost. "But humans interfere." "Not all of us," Aaron murmured. "Some of us want to help." For a long moment, she just watched him. Then she whispered her name. "Saline, Aaron," he replied. It felt strange, intimate, saying names in this quiet desert. He helped her to her feet, supporting her as best he could. The journey through the dunes was harsh sand that shifted beneath their feet, storms that arose without warning, but together they moved forward. Every time Saline faltered, he caught her. Every time she looked at him, her wings twitched in what he could only call curiosity. One night, under a sky bright with countless stars, they stopped to rest. Saline leaned against a dune, wings half spread. Her colors pulsed softly, emotions visible to anyone who could read them. Fear, relief, doubt, and beneath it all, a flicker of something else. Trust, maybe. Aaron hesitated, then asked, "Do you ever wonder if we could survive this together?" Saline turned to him slowly, eyes searching his. Her glow warmed. "I do not know. It is forbidden, is it not, for us to feel this way about each other?" "I don't care about forbidden," he said softly. "I care about now, about this moment." She blinked, unsure. Then, without thinking, she reached out, brushing his hand with hers. The contact sent sparks through both of them, small, quiet, but undeniable. The next day, they found the relic, a crystalline artifact buried beneath the ruins. Saline's hands shook as she activated it, energy flowing outward, a gentle pulse healing the desert and sending ripples through the land. Aaron stayed close, supporting her, feeling the warmth of her wing brush against him, the soft light that seemed to hum from her being. When the relic's light faded, Saline looked at Aaron with wide golden eyes. You stayed. You helped me, despite everything." "I did," he said, "and I would again." Her wings unfurled, silver catching the sunlight. She smiled faintly, the first true smile he had seen. "Then perhaps there is no rule against what I feel for you." Aaron smiled back, his heart light with the impossible hope of connection. The desert stretched around them, harsh and eternal, but for the first time, it felt like a place where love could grow. And beneath the silver moons, they walked side by side, two strangers bound by courage, hope, and the quiet magic of a shared journey. The Leviathan moved beneath the waves, a colossal shadow gliding through the emerald ocean. Its scales shimmered faintly, bioluminescent lines tracing patterns no human had ever named. Mara floated in the observation sphere, her fingertips brushing the glass as she followed its slow, hypnotic arcs. She had been sent to study it, catalog its behavior, report back, but she hadn't expected to feel awe or longing. Then she heard a sound, not a sonar ping, not a hum of machinery, but a voice, deep and melodic, vibrating through the water itself. "You are here," it said. Mara startled, looking around. The sphere was empty except for her. "Who's there?" she called. "Inside," the voice said, and the Leviathan's shadow shifted closer, revealing an alien form curled in the folds of its massive body. A being, delicate as coral, with limbs that shimmered like the ocean surface at sunrise. Its eyes to liquid sapphires met hers. "Do not fear. I am Taller. I keep the Leviathan alive." Mara's heart raced. She had trained for first contact, for diplomacy, for caution. Yet here she floated, mesmerized, drawn to this impossible creature, and the way it seemed to radiate both power and vulnerability. I wasn't expecting anyone here," Mara said, voice trembling. "Neither was I expecting you." Taller replied, voice calm, rippling like water. "Yet you came, and you stayed." Over the following days, they met in secret chambers within the Leviathan's heart. Taller showed her how the Leviathan healed itself, how its heartbeat was entwined with the planet's tides. Mara shared her world's knowledge, her cautious curiosity, stories of places Talar could never see. And slowly, trust became warmth, and warmth became something more. Talar's hand brushed hers once, then lingered. Their fingers intertwined, alien and human, two different species learning a rhythm together. Mara's chest tightened in a way that had nothing to do with fear, something alive, something dangerous, something beautiful. One evening, as the bioluminescent currents shifted, painting the walls in violet and gold, Talar whispered, "I have never allowed another to touch me." Mara's breath caught. I don't want to stop," she said softly. "Not if it's this feeling." Talar's eyes shimmered, light rippling across them. "Then stay with me here, within the Leviathan's heart. We will learn together." The Leviathan thrummed beneath them, an endless pulse, steady and comforting. Mara leaned closer, resting her head against Talar's shoulder, feeling the alien heartbeat beneath the skin of the enormous creature that cradled them. Time became irrelevant. The world outside the Leviathan faded. There was only the sphere, the water, the hum of life and love growing in quiet, improbable ways. And when Mara finally looked up, Talar's sapphire eyes caught hers. "You have changed my world," Talar murmured. "And you've changed mine," Mara said, lips brushing the alien's, tentative, reverent, yet full of promise, for the first time in a universe of boundaries and distance. Two beings so different, yet so alike found a heartbeat in common. In the quiet Leviathan, love was no longer impossible. It was inevitable, and as the ocean swirled around them, carrying echoes of light and life, they held on to each other, knowing that the world outside might never understand, but they didn't need it to. The sky above the crystalline cliffs churned in shades of violet and molten gold. Jagged spires of glass rose from the planet's surface, catching the light and scattering it like a prism. Kaya stood at the edge, wind whipping her silver hair around her face, the storm rolling in like a living thing. She wasn't supposed to be here. The planet was off limits, its cliffs sacred to the alien species that guarded the mineral-rich formations. But Kaya had heard the song first, an almost human melody carried on the wind, calling her to the precipice. Curiosity had always outweighed caution, and now she was here, trembling with exhilaration. Then she saw him. A figure crouched among the glass spires, translucent and radiant, limbs folding in angles that defied gravity. His eyes, golden and liquid, met hers with a cautious intensity. "You should not be here," he said, voice a low hum, vibrating through the crystalline air. "Neither should you," Kaya replied, stepping closer despite the wind tugging at her clothes. "Yet here you are." He smiled faintly, a curl of light on his lips. "The storm called me first. For hours they circled each other, voices lost in the roar of wind and crashing waves of crystal. Yet each gesture, each glance, was a conversation deeper than words." Kaya learned his name, Liranan, that he was a guardian, bound to the cliffs by tradition and oath. She shared her world, tales of planets and seas he had never touched, dreams of stars he could only imagine. Then the storm broke. Torrents of violet rain fell, turning the crystalline spires into rivers of liquid light. Kaya slipped, and Liran caught her effortlessly, holding her against him as the rain drenched them both. "Do you trust me?" he asked, voice barely audible over the storm. Kaya hesitated, then nodded. The word seemed small, inadequate, but it was everything. She felt his heartbeat, steady beneath the light of his translucent chest, and it synchronized with hers, to rhythms melding into one. He lowered his head, brushing a wet strand of hair from her face. "I should not. I am not allowed. I don't care about allowed," Kaya interrupted, voice trembling with emotion. "I only care about here, now, us." And then, in the storm's chaos, he kissed her soft at first, reverent, then firmer, as if the cliffs themselves encouraged them. Lightning traced the edges of the spires, illuminating them in jagged brilliance, and for a moment the universe itself seemed to pause, acknowledging the impossible intimacy of a human and an alien guardian. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, before the storm abated, leaving the cliffs glistening like a million scattered stars. Kaya and Liran remained close, foreheads touching, breathing in tandem. "You've changed everything," Liran murmured. "My world, my duty, even the storms themselves." Kaya smiled, brushing her fingers across his hand. And you've changed mine. I thought this planet was forbidden, unreachable. Until you showed me its heart. They stood there, watching the first light of a new day break over the crystalline horizon. The storm had passed, but its memory lingered in their bones, in the shared warmth that made the cliffs less alien, more alive. And as the wind carried whispers through the spires, they held each other, understanding that love could exist even where rules, duty, and worlds insisted it could not. It was wild, untamed, and utterly theirs. In the heart of a storm, two beings different yet bound by the same pulse of courage and desire found each other, and in that meeting, discovered that sometimes, the most forbidden places are also the most beautiful. The sky was empty, or so it seemed, vast and ink black, pierced only by scattered points of distant light. Astrid drifted through the silent ruins of the once bustling orbital city, her boots crunching softly against fragments of glass and alloy. The stars had fallen last night, a celestial cascade that had left the planet's orbit littered with debris. Yet no one feared the destruction, at least. Not those who understood its purpose. Then she saw him. A figure standing atop the tallest spire, tall and angular, illuminated by the fractured light of the orbiting wreckage. His skin shimmered faintly, almost transparent, the color of molten silver. His eyes amber as warm as sunlit honey found hers, and in that instant, the emptiness of the orbital city vanished. You shouldn't be here, Astrid said. Though her voice lacked conviction, neither should you, he replied, landing lightly beside her as though gravity itself bent in deference. Yet here we are. His name was Talon, a scout of a species that existed between matter and energy, known for their ability to navigate the ruins of fallen civilizations. He was cautious, distant, bound by duty, yet the look in his eyes betrayed something else, something forbidden and fragile. They walked among the debris, speaking in whispers, sharing secrets that had no place in the world outside. Astrid told him of her family, her lost home, the music she remembered from long-forgotten streets. Talon shared his memories, flashes of galaxies he had never touched, songs of stars that existed only in resonance. As they spoke, the debris beneath them began to vibrate faintly, a rhythm that pulsed in harmony with their own hearts. A soft hum grew louder, until it became a song that belonged neither to human nor alien, but to the fragile thread of connection they had woven together, the stars. Astrid whispered, "They fell for us." Talon smiled, brushing a hand against hers. The warmth was impossible, yet undeniable. They recognized what we've found. Love that defies rules, that bridges worlds. Then the orbital city began to shift, fragments of metal and crystal orbiting in a careful dance, as though the universe itself rearranged to make room for them. Astrid's heart raced, a torrent of wonder and fear, until Talon leaned close. Voice barely audible, "Hold me. Trust me." She did. And in that embrace, the remnants of two worlds fused. Their kiss was slow, deliberate, a promise stitched into the quiet fabric of the fallen stars. Light flickered across their skin, reflecting in fragments that danced like fireflies in the void. The universe, silent and eternal, seemed to sigh, acknowledging the impossible union of human and alien. Hours passed, or perhaps only moments, but when they parted, their fingers entwined, the silence felt alive. The stars above began to return, faint points of light rekindling, each one brighter than before, each one a reminder that even after chaos, beauty could be born. "We've changed everything," Astrid said softly, eyes reflecting the reborn stars. "Even the universe itself." "No," Talon replied, pressing a forehead to hers. "We've only remembered what was always possible. Love doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't heed rules. It simply exists." Together, they stood at the edge of the spire, watching the orbiting fragments settle into a new rhythm. The stars hummed a gentle chorus, carrying with them the memory of fallen worlds and the hope of new beginnings. Astrid felt her heart swell, knowing that even if everything else vanished, this quiet, impossible love would endure. And as the first light of the distant sun touched the horizon of the planet below, they held each other, two beings from different corners of existence, and found that the quiet after the stars fell was filled not with loss, but with infinite possibility. In the end, it was not the universe that had changed, it was them, and that was enough.